Gentlemen, I beg you, stop eating this vegetable immediately. I know that sounds dramatic, but hear me clearly. For men over 50, it can quietly destroy your testosterone and cripple your erections. You've been told all your life that vegetables are the healthiest choice, but not all of them. Some are silently stealing your masculinity, weakening your strength, and draining the very energy that makes you feel alive as a man. This is not just about food, it's about protecting your manhood. My name is Dr. Mohit Khera. I'm a professor and urologist, and for over 3 decades I've dedicated my career to men's health. I've sat across from thousands of men in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, men who felt tired, less confident, and frustrated that their bodies no longer responded the way they once did. And in many cases, the foods they trusted were making things worse. Here's the shocking paradox. The very vegetables you've been told will protect your heart and extend your life may also be lowering your testosterone, sabotaging your erections, and even enlarging your prostate. What looks like health food on your plate could, in truth, be undermining your vitality. But here's the good news. In just a few minutes, I'm going to reveal the 4 vegetables that quietly destroy testosterone in men over 50. And I'll also show you 4 powerful vegetables that do the opposite, boosting your testosterone naturally, improving your energy, and restoring your performance. And pay close attention, because one of these testosterone killers is probably sitting in your kitchen right now, while one of the boosters is so effective it's been called nature's Viagra. Stay with me, because this may change the way you eat for the rest of your life. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another tip designed to protect your strength, your testosterone, and your health as you age. And I'd love to hear from you. If you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If you don't, type 0 and let me know how I can make these lessons even more valuable for you. Let's begin with the first hidden culprit. Many men believe this food is harmless, even healthy, but in reality, it contains compounds that act like estrogen in your body. For men over 50, that means lower testosterone, weaker erections, and a steady loss of masculine strength. 1. Soy-based vegetables. Edamame, soybeans, tofu. When most men hear the word soy, they immediately think of something harmless, maybe a bowl of steamed edamame at a restaurant or tofu served as a healthy alternative to meat. For decades, the food industry and even some nutritionists have promoted soy as a heart-friendly, plant-based protein that can help you live longer. But here's what most men over 50 were never told. Soy is loaded with compounds called phytoestrogens, plant-based chemicals that mimic the female hormone estrogen inside your body. And when you are in your 60s or 70s, already dealing with naturally declining testosterone, this so-called health food can quietly tilt the hormonal balance even further against you. I still remember one of my patients, a retired firefighter in his late 60s. He came to see me complaining of fatigue, shrinking muscle strength, and a sex drive that had all but disappeared. He had always been active, proud of his body, and yet he told me, with sadness in his voice, "Doctor, I just don't feel like myself anymore." After reviewing his diet, it became clear. Nearly every day he was snacking on soy nuts, drinking soy milk, and eating tofu because he thought it was the best choice for his heart. In truth, he was unknowingly flooding his body with estrogen-like compounds that were suppressing his already fragile testosterone levels. Within weeks of cutting soy from his meals, his energy began to return. His wife even called me later to say, "Thank you, I feel like I have my husband back." That's the devastating effect soy can have when it creeps quietly into your diet. You see, phytoestrogens bind to the same receptors in your body that testosterone should be using. Over time, this creates what we call estrogen dominance. The result is more belly fat, less lean muscle, weaker erections, and a fading sense of vitality. For older men, it can also mean faster prostate growth and higher risk of metabolic problems like diabetes and high cholesterol. It's not an exaggeration to say that what you eat every day can directly shape your masculinity. Now, does this mean you can never touch soy again? Not exactly. The occasional bowl of edamame won't destroy your health overnight, but the real danger comes when soy becomes a regular part of your diet, Soy milk in your morning coffee, tofu stir-fry for lunch, protein bars or powders made with soy protein isolate. For many older men, especially those trying to eat healthy, it adds up quickly without them even realizing it. That steady drip of estrogen-like compounds over months and years can rob you of the very hormone that defines male vitality. What I want you to take away is simple. If you're a man over 50, be cautious with soy. Read the labels. Know where it hides. Your testosterone is too precious to gamble with, especially at this stage of life when every bit of it matters for your energy, your performance, and your confidence as a man. And here's the real shocker. Soy isn't the only seemingly innocent food that can crush your testosterone. In fact, the next one might be in your pantry right now, and it's something most men drink thinking it will relax them. But in truth, it quietly sabotages their libido even further. Let's talk about it. 2. Mint, peppermint, and spearmint. Mint is one of those flavors almost every man has grown up with. It's in our toothpaste, our chewing gum, even the little candies handed out at restaurants. Many older men enjoy a warm cup of peppermint or spearmint tea before bed, believing it helps digestion or calms the mind for sleep. On the surface, it feels harmless, even refreshing. But what most men don't realize is that mint, particularly in larger or regular amounts, can quietly work against your testosterone. And for men over 60, this is not something you can afford to ignore. I still remember a gentleman in his early 70s who came to my clinic. He was a retired high school teacher, soft-spoken and thoughtful, and he confessed that for months he had been feeling less like himself. He was tired, his sex drive had dwindled, and he was frustrated with how weak he felt compared to just a few years ago. When I asked about his diet and habits, something caught my attention. Every single night, he drank 2 large mugs of peppermint tea to settle his stomach. He had been doing this faithfully for years. What he didn't realize was that mint has been shown in several studies to reduce luteinizing hormone, the very signal from the brain that tells the testicles to make testosterone. In plain language, his nightly ritual was quietly lowering the very hormone that gave him his strength, his energy, and his vitality as a man. When we cut out the nightly mint tea, he was skeptical that something so small could make a difference. But within weeks, he noticed subtle changes. A bit more morning energy, a spark of desire returning, and most importantly, he told me, "Doctor, I finally feel like I'm getting a piece of myself back." It wasn't the only change we made, but removing that hidden testosterone sapper was a key piece of the puzzle. That's the tricky part about mint. It doesn't seem dangerous. No one ever warns you that a soothing cup of tea or a fresh burst of peppermint could harm your hormones. But when you're in your 60s or 70s, already fighting a natural decline in testosterone, even these small daily choices add up. Over time, that suppression of hormone production can leave you with less energy, softer erections, and a nagging sense of decline that you can't quite put your finger on. You chalk it up to age, but in reality, something as innocent as mint may be stealing away more of your manhood than you realize. So should you avoid mint entirely? Not necessarily. Brushing your teeth or chewing gum isn't the problem. The real issue is regular, heavy use. Multiple cups of mint tea, daily doses of spearmint for digestion, or herbal supplements marketed for gut health. These are the habits that can tip the scales against your testosterone. If you want to feel strong, confident, and alive as a man over 60, you must be mindful of what may seem like small habits. Because often, it's the little things done consistently that quietly shape your health over time. And just when you think mint is the last place to worry about, there's another so-called health food that has become extremely popular with older men, praised for its fiber and heart benefits. But in reality, it binds to testosterone and flushes it right out of your system. Let's uncover that one next. 3. Flaxseed, technically a plant seed used as vegetable fiber. For years, flaxseed has been marketed as one of the ultimate superfoods. You see it sprinkled over oatmeal, blended into smoothies, baked into breads, and recommended by health magazines as a must-have for heart protection and digestive health. Many men, especially those over 60 who want to stay fit and lower their cholesterol, have faithfully added flaxseed to their daily routine. On the surface, it looks like the perfect choice. Rich in fiber, plant-based, and supposedly anti-aging. But here's the hidden truth that most men have never been told. Flaxseed is loaded with lignans, plant compounds that bind to testosterone and essentially sweep it out of your body. I remember one patient, a 70-year-old retired Navy officer, who came to me feeling utterly defeated. He had prided himself on discipline his entire life, keeping a strict diet and exercise routine even after retirement. Yet despite his efforts, his body was changing in ways he couldn't control. His belly was growing, his energy was slipping, and worst of all, his erections had become unreliable. He told me, almost embarrassed, that intimacy with his wife had become rare, not because of lack of desire, but because his body simply wasn't responding. When we reviewed his diet, I noticed he proudly mentioned his morning health shake filled with a heaping scoop of ground flaxseed. He believed he was doing everything right, but in reality, he was flooding his system with compounds that latched onto his testosterone and carried it away. This is what makes flaxseed so deceptive. It doesn't poison your body, and it doesn't immediately cause damage. Instead, it works quietly, binding to testosterone molecules and reducing the levels of both total and free testosterone, the very hormones responsible for muscle strength, energy, and sexual performance. For older men, who are already battling the natural decline of testosterone with age, this can be devastating. Each day, a little more of their masculinity is being washed out, and they don't even realize the culprit is the so-called superfood they add to their breakfast. When I advised my patient to replace the flaxseed with other fiber sources, like oats or chia seeds in moderation, he was doubtful. He asked me, "Doctor, can something so small really make a difference?" But within a couple of months, he noticed subtle yet meaningful changes. His energy began to climb, his mood lifted, and slowly, his performance improved. His wife told me she could see the spark coming back in his eyes. It wasn't magic. It was simply removing one hidden drain on his testosterone reserves. Gentlemen, that's the danger of blindly following health trends without understanding how they affect the unique biology of older men. What the media promotes as universally healthy may not be healthy for you, especially when it interferes with the very hormone that fuels your manhood. Flaxseed may help some, but for men over 60, the risk of losing testosterone is simply too great. And here's where it gets even more surprising, because if flaxseed is the quiet thief of testosterone, the next culprit is even more insidious. It's not sprinkled on your cereal or blended into a smoothie. It's sitting in the very oil you use to cook your meals every single day. And that oil may be doing more damage to your testosterone than any seed or herb ever could. Let's uncover that hidden danger next. 4. Processed vegetable oils: corn oil, soybean oil, canola oil. For decades, we were told to replace butter and animal fats with heart-healthy vegetable oils. Commercial after commercial promised that corn oil, soybean oil, and canola oil were the smarter, modern alternatives to the fats our fathers and grandfathers cooked with. Many men in their 60s and 70s proudly made the switch, believing they were protecting their hearts and extending their lives. But what they were never told is that these processed oils are among the most damaging foods for a man's testosterone. The problem lies in the way these oils are made. They are heavily refined, stripped, bleached, and deodorized, leaving behind a product loaded with unstable omega-6 fatty acids. When consumed daily, as most men do, these oils ignite inflammation inside the body. Inflammation is like a slow-burning fire that damages your cells, disrupts hormone production, and weakens blood vessels. For testosterone, it's a death sentence. Chronic inflammation interferes with the testes' ability to produce hormones, reduces sperm quality, and lowers overall testosterone levels. For erections, it means poor blood flow, softer performance, and frustration in the bedroom. I'll never forget one man in his late 60s who came to see me. He was overweight, tired, and frustrated because no matter what he did, his strength and libido kept slipping. He told me he had been following his doctor's advice for years, avoiding butter and olive oil, and instead cooking everything in canola oil. His scrambled eggs, his vegetables, even the oil he drizzled on salads, it was all processed vegetable oil. When we tested his hormone levels, his testosterone was shockingly low. His arteries showed signs of inflammation, and his energy was flat. We changed just one major thing. I asked him to throw out the bottles of canola and soybean oil and replace them with extra virgin olive oil and avocado oil. Within months, his inflammation markers dropped, his testosterone rose, and he told me with a grin, "Doc, I finally feel like the lights are turning back on." That's the heartbreaking truth. These oils, marketed as health foods, are quietly robbing older men of their vitality. Every time you fry an egg in corn oil, saute vegetables in soybean oil, or drizzle canola oil over your salad, you are adding fuel to the fire of inflammation. Over time, that fire burns away at your testosterone and your erections, leaving you feeling older, weaker, and less alive. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens meal after meal, year after year, until you hardly recognize the man you've become. So what's the lesson here? Be ruthless with the oils you use. If you want to protect your testosterone after 60, stick to natural, unrefined fats like extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or even small amounts of butter. These support your hormones instead of destroying them. Every drop matters, and the oils you choose could be the difference between feeling vital or feeling drained. And while these oils are a hidden daily threat, there is also hope, because not every vegetable is the enemy. In fact, certain vegetables have the power to restore testosterone, protect your prostate, and even improve blood flow to give you the kind of erections you thought were gone forever. Let's begin with one leafy green that has been scientifically proven to raise free testosterone and support stronger performance. 5. Spinach. When you think of spinach, you might picture the old Popeye cartoons, where one can of spinach instantly turned him into a powerhouse of strength. As silly as those cartoons may seem today, the truth is that spinach really does carry a kind of hidden power, one that men over 60 should never overlook. For decades, I've encouraged my patients to treat spinach not just as a vegetable, but as medicine for their masculinity. And that's because spinach is one of the richest natural sources of magnesium, a mineral with a direct and proven link to higher testosterone levels. I remember a patient of mine, a 72-year-old widower, who came to see me after years of struggling with low energy and weaker erections. He wasn't looking for a quick fix. He told me, "Doctor, I just want to feel like myself again. I don't need to be 20, but I don't want to feel like I'm already at the end." His blood work showed his testosterone was low, but more importantly, his free testosterone, the form that truly matters, was nearly non-existent. We talked about his diet, and I learned he ate very few leafy greens. I asked him to start adding spinach to his meals at least 4 times a week. He looked at me skeptically, almost as if to say, "That's it?" But he agreed. Within weeks, he started to notice small but steady improvements. His energy rose first. He told me he woke up feeling less groggy. Then came his mood. His daughter said he seemed lighter, more optimistic. And not long after, he confided that his erections had begun to return. They weren't perfect, but they were stronger than they had been in years. He looked me in the eye and said, "Doctor, it feels like life is coming back into me." That's the power of a simple vegetable when it's packed with the right nutrients. Spinach does more than supply magnesium. It's also high in natural nitrates, compounds that increase nitric oxide production in the body. If that sounds familiar, it's because nitric oxide is the very pathway prescription drugs like Viagra target to increase blood flow. By eating spinach, you're giving your body the raw materials it needs to open up blood vessels, improve circulation, and deliver more oxygen and nutrients to every part of your body, including the penis. This means stronger, longer-lasting erections without relying solely on medication. For men over 60, that can be life-changing. Another benefit is how spinach helps reduce oxidative stress. As we age, our bodies accumulate damage from inflammation, poor diet, and environmental toxins. Spinach, loaded with antioxidants, helps calm that storm, protecting the very cells that produce testosterone. It's like giving your body a shield against the slow erosion of time. So the lesson here is clear. If you're serious about restoring testosterone and protecting your vitality after 60, make spinach a regular part of your diet. Toss it into a salad, blend it into a smoothie, saute it with garlic and olive oil. Just find ways to make it part of your life. It's a small step with a massive payoff. But spinach isn't the only green warrior on your side. There's another vegetable, one from the same Cruciferous family, that goes a step further. Instead of just raising testosterone, it actively lowers estrogen, helping restore balance to your hormones and protecting your prostate at the same time. Let's talk about that next. 6. Broccoli and Cruciferous family. If spinach is the vegetable that gives your testosterone a gentle lift, then broccoli is the one that helps clear the path so that testosterone can truly shine. Most men look at broccoli as just another side dish, something green on the plate that their wives or doctors tell them they should eat. But broccoli belongs to the Cruciferous family of vegetables, and within it lies a powerful compound called indole 3-carbinol. This compound doesn't just support your health in general, it specifically helps older men by reducing excess estrogen, the hormone that works directly against testosterone. I remember one man in his late 60s, a former construction worker, who sat across from me one afternoon. He was strong once, proud of his physicality, but years of fatigue, a softening waistline, and waning erections had worn him down. "Doc," he said quietly, "I feel like I'm turning into someone else." When I explained to him that one of the hidden problems men face as they age is not just declining testosterone, but rising estrogen, he looked surprised. Like many men, he never imagined estrogen could be part of his struggle. He thought estrogen was something only women dealt with, but for men over 60, estrogen can creep higher while testosterone falls lower, creating a hormonal imbalance that magnifies every sign of aging: fatigue, belly fat, mood swings, even prostate enlargement. This is where broccoli becomes more than just food. Indole 3-carbinol helps break down estrogen into weaker forms, effectively lowering the burden of estrogen in a man's body. By doing this, it frees testosterone to have a stronger effect. For my patient, I suggested something simple. Add steamed broccoli or Brussels sprouts to at least 3 dinners each week. A small, manageable change. Months later, he came back lighter, more energetic, and smiling in a way I hadn't seen before. His words still stick with me. "Doc, I didn't think broccoli would make a difference, but my wife says I have more spark in me now than I've had in years." Broccoli also offers an extra gift. It supports prostate health. Prostate enlargement and prostate cancer are concerns that weigh heavily on men over 60. The compounds in cruciferous vegetables help protect the prostate by reducing inflammation and supporting detoxification pathways in the liver. So, not only are you boosting testosterone indirectly, you're also lowering your risk of one of the most common health problems men your age face. It's a double win, and it comes from something as humble as a green vegetable. So don't think of broccoli as just another boring side on your plate. Think of it as a weapon in your fight to reclaim energy, protect your prostate, and give testosterone a chance to do its work. Add it roasted with olive oil, steamed with a little lemon, or tossed into soups. Find a way to make it something you enjoy, because your body will thank you. And as powerful as broccoli is, it still works in a different way than the next food I'm about to share. Because while broccoli lowers estrogen, the next one directly lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that silently battles testosterone every single day. And when you reduce cortisol, testosterone finally has room to rise higher than you ever thought possible. Let's look at that powerful food next. 7. Garlic. Garlic is one of those foods that seems so simple, so ordinary, that many men underestimate its true power. You chop it, you sauté it, you taste it in sauces, and maybe you even avoid it because of its strong smell. But what if I told you that this humble bulb could play a direct role in restoring your testosterone and even helping you feel more alive in the bedroom? The truth is, garlic contains a compound called allicin, and for men over 60, allicin can be a game changer. It works by lowering cortisol, the stress hormone that secretly competes with testosterone in your body every single day. The less cortisol you carry, the more space testosterone has to do its job, and that means more strength, more energy, and a stronger sex drive. One of my patients, a 68-year-old man who had recently retired from corporate work, came to me overwhelmed. His words were honest and raw. "Doctor, I feel worn down. My stress never seems to leave me, even though I'm no longer working. My energy is low, my body feels soft, and intimacy with my wife feels like a memory. His blood work revealed two important things: elevated cortisol levels and low testosterone. That combination is like a 1-2 punch to masculinity. Stress was choking his ability to feel like a man. When we adjusted his diet, one of the simplest recommendations I gave was to include more fresh garlic in his meals. He looked at me with doubt, as though something so small could never change such big problems. But 3 months later, when he returned for a follow-up, his face was brighter, his mood lighter, and he told me, "Doc, my wife says I'm a different man." His testosterone levels had improved, but what really struck him was how much calmer and more resilient he felt. Garlic wasn't the only change, but it was a key part of lowering his stress burden and unlocking more of his natural vitality. The beauty of garlic is that it works on multiple levels. By lowering cortisol, it frees up testosterone to flow stronger, but it also improves circulation and supports heart health, both of which are essential for strong erections. Remember, an erection is nothing more than blood flow, and garlic has been used for centuries to keep blood vessels flexible and strong. For older men, whose arteries may be stiffening with age, this is no small gift. A little garlic in your diet can help keep blood moving not just to your heart and brain, but to the very organ that defines your manhood. I understand the hesitation. Garlic has a reputation for being pungent, and many men fear the smell on their breath. But think about it. Would you trade a little stronger breath for stronger erections, better energy, and lower stress? Most of my patients who make garlic a regular part of their meals find that the benefits far outweigh the inconvenience. And with so many ways to prepare it, roasted, sautéed, blended into sauces, you can enjoy its power in a way that fits your taste. So don't underestimate the humble garlic bulb. It may be small, but inside it is a force that can quiet stress and let your testosterone breathe again. And just when you think garlic is impressive, there's another vegetable that may surprise you even more. Unlike garlic, which works by calming stress, this one works by dramatically improving circulation. So much so that scientists call it nature's Viagra. Let's talk about that next. 8. Beets. Beets are one of those vegetables that many men overlook. Some dismiss them for their earthy taste. Others avoid them because they stain everything they touch. But what if I told you that inside this humble root lies one of the most powerful natural tools to restore circulation, protect your heart, and even give you the kind of erections you thought were gone forever? For men over 60, beets are not just food, they are medicine for your masculinity. The secret lies in their nitrates. When you eat beets, those nitrates convert into nitric oxide, a compound your body uses to relax blood vessels and increase blood flow. This is the exact same pathway that prescription drugs like Viagra target. In other words, beets help your body do naturally what expensive pills try to replicate. And for older men, where blood flow is often the biggest barrier to strong erections, this can be life-changing. I recall a 71-year-old patient, a grandfather of 5, who came to me with a heavy heart. He was healthy in many ways, walking daily and eating what he thought was a balanced diet, but he confessed to me that intimacy with his wife had faded almost completely. "Doc," he said quietly, "I feel like I've lost that part of myself. I don't want to depend on pills, but I also don't want to give up on my marriage." His blood pressure was high, his circulation was weak, and his testosterone was lower than it should have been. We added roasted beets and fresh beet juice to his weekly meals. At first, he laughed at the idea, but within weeks, his blood pressure improved. Within months, he told me his erections had returned with a strength he hadn't felt in years. And the best part? He no longer felt powerless. He had discovered that nature itself had given him an answer. Beets also help in another way. They support stamina. Better circulation doesn't just mean stronger erections. It means more oxygen reaching your muscles, your heart, and even your brain. Men who eat beets regularly often report having more endurance during exercise, clearer thinking, and even sharper memory. For men over 60, these benefits mean the difference between feeling like life is slowing down and feeling like you're still in control of your body and your future. Yes, beets are messy. Yes, they stain your hands. But when you realize that every bite is helping restore your circulation, protect your heart, and revive your manhood, suddenly they don't seem so troublesome. You can roast them, blend them into smoothies, or drink beet juice. It doesn't matter how you consume them, as long as they become part of your routine. Gentlemen, what I want you to take from this is simple. Beets are nature's Viagra. They're accessible, affordable, and effective. For men who want to avoid dependency on pills and instead lean on natural solutions, this is one of the most powerful foods you can put on your plate. And now that we've uncovered the 4 vegetables that destroy testosterone and the 4 that can restore it, the real question becomes this. How do you put all of this together into daily choices that protect your manhood and keep you strong for years to come? That's exactly what we'll uncover as we move into the conclusion. Conclusion. Gentlemen, we've taken a journey together, and I hope by now you see the truth more clearly than ever before. Food is not just something we put on our plates to fill our stomachs. For men over 60, food is either medicine for your masculinity or poison for your testosterone. Every bite matters, and what you choose can be the difference between feeling weak, tired, and disconnected, or strong, alive, and confident. We started by uncovering the 4 silent destroyers of testosterone that so many men trust without question. Soy, with its estrogen-like compounds, quietly steals your manhood while convincing you it's heart-healthy. Mint, in your teas and supplements, soothes the body but suppresses the very signal your testicles need to produce testosterone. Flaxseed, praised as a superfood, binds to your hormones and flushes them away like they're waste. And those processed vegetable oils, corn, soybean, canola, the very oils the food industry pushed as healthy have been fueling inflammation and robbing you of vitality for decades. These aren't just harmless foods. For the aging man, they are silent thieves, stealing what little testosterone nature has left you. But there's hope. And that's the part I want you to carry with you. Because just as some foods destroy, others can rebuild. Spinach, loaded with magnesium and natural nitrates, fuels your free testosterone and restores circulation. Broccoli and its cruciferous cousins clear away excess estrogen so testosterone can do its job. Garlic, with its ancient reputation and modern science, lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that suffocates your testosterone, and frees you to feel like yourself again. And beets, the unassuming root that scientists call nature's Viagra, open your blood vessels, send oxygen surging through your body, and bring back the erections and stamina you thought were gone forever. I share these truths with you not as theories but as lessons learned from the men I've treated over 3 decades. I've seen the firefighter who regained his energy when soy left his plate, the teacher who rediscovered intimacy after giving up mint, the Navy officer who felt his spark return once flaxseed was gone, and the retiree who replaced canola oil with olive oil and finally felt the lights come back on. I've also seen the joy on a widower's face when spinach helped restore his strength, the relief of a construction worker whose prostate calmed after embracing broccoli, the gratitude of a husband whose stress lifted with garlic, and the pure astonishment of a grandfather who rediscovered his erections thanks to beets. These are not just stories. These are real men, perhaps not so different from you, who proved that it is never too late to reclaim your vitality. So here is my final message. Your age does not define you. Your choices do. You don't need to surrender your masculinity to time or to the foods that quietly chip away at your strength. You can fight back with knowledge, with discipline, and with the right foods on your plate. Throw out the destroyers, embrace the boosters, because life after 60 can still be full of energy, intimacy, and confidence if you give your body what it needs. And as you close this video, ask yourself one question. Will I continue letting hidden foods rob me of my manhood, or will I take control today and nourish the testosterone that makes me who I am? The answer, gentlemen, is in your hands.